Okay. So particularly in context to Azure, let us understand what all services Azure provides us for AI, and we also need to understand what do we mean by the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a category of computing that adapts and improve its decision making ability. Its decision making ability over time based on its success and failure. Microsoft Azure provides several AI solutions to choose from, each one depending on the problem you are trying to solve. So last time, as we discussed about IoT and we discussed about Azure IoT Central, Azure IoT Hub, and Azure IoT Sphere, and we discussed, the pros and cons, or we discussed about where to use which type of service. So we discussed about the features of it, and the key feature which we discussed was like, the security services, the bidirectional services, and the UI and uh, you know uh, API based services for 3 different platforms. And then we discussed on some of the scenario with which we can identify that, okay, yes, this particular service is good for one scenario but not in the other scenario, right? Similarly, now for AI, which which is a technique with the help of which you will be able to bring the decision making. So we will discuss that. So right now, let us first go through that. Okay, what do we mean by these type of services? Okay, so familiarity with, so there are 3 things here. I think there is a mails. Okay. So there are 2 basic approaches to AI. The first one is to employ a deep learning system that is modeled on the neural network of the human mind, enabling you to discover, learn, and grow through experience. So when we are talking about AI, so first thing is the deep learning. What is deep learning? The meaning of the deep learning is that we can model the system as if we have our neural network. And then when we're saying neural network, that means it's a kind of analogy from the human mind. So that enable you to discover, learn, and grow through experience. So deep learning help to discover the thing first, discover the thing, that what all things are there, and then learn from that discovery, and then after learning, then you apply it. So that means you grow. Okay, so the way the way human brain work. So the way so in case if we are keeping a child in a, say, confined room, and if we not allow him to move or to see outside, he will not be able to learn anything, and he may not be able to speak well. But when we train the human brain in some way, and when we allow him to discover the thing, then only he will be able to grab that understanding, and he will be able to understand. First of all, he need to discover the thing, then he need to learn the things, then he need to grow it. So similarly, just like a human brain, when we are using the deep learning, we are using a neural network with the help of which we will be able to do the things in a continuous manner. The second approach which we are using, is so the second approach which we are using is machine learning. So what is machine learning? In the machine learning, what we do, machine learning is basically a data science technique that use the existing data to train a model, test it, and then apply the model to the new data to forecast future behavior, outcomes, and trends. So here there are, here we have few other things. Like first of all, we need to train the model. So first of all, we need to create the model. Once we have the model, then we need to train the model. Once we train the model, then we need to test it, that whether the model is good enough. And then once we test it, then we apply the model on new things, okay, or some other data. And when we apply the model, why we are applying that model? We apply the model for future decision making. Right? What do we mean by that? That we can identify the future behavior, future outcomes, and trends. For example, you can have a machine learning model for your say Facebook platform, or for your say Flipkart. Now what it does is, when you are purchasing few items, it first of all say that in case if somebody is say trying to purchase apparels, then what could be his choice, or his or her choice? Based on that, so maybe if somebody is purchasing apparel, obviously suddenly he will not go and purchase the groceries. So if somebody is purchasing apparel, then the tool should show what could be the best option, or what could be the other apparel which are available within the same category, for example. So based on that, because they have the customer trend, that customer is purchasing in case if customer is purchasing apparel, then his or her focus would be to try for different type of things within that particular category of the apparel. So within that particular category, then machine can show you the next options. So that is how the machine learning works. But deep learning is something totally different. Deep learning is based on the random thing. So just like if we are going for robotics, so for a particular arena it works, and it says that we need to discover the thing, it machine, and then it learn and grow. So these are the two different methods or approaches within AI. Now forecast or prediction from machine learning can make apps and devices smarter. For example, when you shop online, machine learning powers product recommendation system, as I explained you about the Flipkart. And on the Flipkart, then it can give you the offers. In case if some offers are running, it can show you some discounts. Suppose you are trying to purchase some product today, and then you don't, and if you don't purchase it, and then maybe so they know your interest, and suppose you added something on your cart, and then it learn your interest, that yes, you tried to purchase something, you added on the cart, but you haven't purchased it. So based on your choice, if they see that yes, you are willing to purchase a good amount, good thing, good amount of thing, then they can say that, okay, we give you say some additional bonus, or some additional discount, with the help of which you will be able to purchase the things, right? So it can give you some offer, so that you can purchase things, and you will not go to others. I mean the their their competitors. So that is how you can get the advantage through machine learning. So machine learning is also used to detect credit card fraud by analyzing each new transaction and using what it has learned from analyzing millions of fraudulent transactions. So be it it's a credit card fraud, be it it's any other type of fraud. So for different type of fraud detection, based on the existing data, it can learn and it can provide you the inferences about that. Now, so virtually every device or software that collect textual, visual, audio data could feed a machine learning model that make the device or system uh, smarter about its function in the future. So that is how you go with it. So the data could be of any type, whether it's a textual data, it's a visual data, textual data in the sense, say, your messages, visual data in the sense, say, your audio and video clips, or your your video clips or your photograph, and then audio is your any audio. So based on that, based on the audio, visual, and textual, you can feed it in the machine learning, and based on that, it can understand and it can give you the future thing. Now, so now we will understand. So this is a kind of um, base of AI. Now, the next thing which we will understand is that what are the Azure product options. So at high level, there are three primary product offering from Microsoft, each of which is designed for a specific audience and use case. Each option provide a diverse set of tools and programmatic APIs. Now, so there are two things here. One is, on one hand, we'll understand the context of AI from Microsoft point of view, and second is how we will be able to use the Microsoft product, Microsoft AI related product, or be it its AI product or be it its IoT products, using using APIs. So that we will also understand. Now, Azure machine learning. Machine learning is a platform for making predictions, as I explained you. Now, it consists of tools and services that allow you to connect to data, to train and test model, and then find one that is most accurately that most accurately predict a future result, right? So for future decision making, we are using machine learning. We are using machine learning for that purpose. Now, particularly when we are saying what are the options which are available for Microsoft Azure, so we will understand that. And then we will also understand furthermore, particularly on the what technical leader says about AI and how and why AI is important. Okay. Now, Azure provide the Azure cognitive services. So Azure provide Azure cognitive services. Now, these Azure cognitive services have some capabilities. So let me just write it down. So what capabilities it has, and it, as I mentioned, that whether it's a AI or whether it's a IoT, both work based on the APIs. So before mentioning the Azure cognitive services, I need to explain you something on the API. What do you understand by API? Do you have any idea on the APIs? What are the APIs? some idea? I mean, in case if you can speak up, in case if you have worked on APIs.
APIs are something like they are the mediators, I can say, which help in passing the information from one system to the another system asynchronously.
Anybody else? Application path. How it is? Feel free to speak up. Soumya?
Hi, Girish Arpita here. Yeah, I think APIs are basically acts as a programming interface between UI and the backend. And through APIs only, we send the information, we get the response and the request. As far as I know, so there's few protocols and tools which we use basically in API to get it work, get the things done.
We can access the application. We can hit the application.
Okay, so let me explain you this thing. So normally there are two type of APIs, and the one of the popular category is the web API. Okay, what is API? API is application programming interface. And what is web API? Our daily real time. Example of API is the food server at a hotel who bring the food from the kitchen and services. Okay, so okay, so web API. Okay, APIs are what? APIs are application programming interface. So suppose you have an application, say you have a website, or say for example, say Flipkart. Now you wanted to post your and suppose you are a shopkeeper, so you wanted to post your products on, say, Flipkart. Now you may be having, because you are a shopkeeper, you are running a shop, you wanted to post your product so that you wanted to increase your sale, and maybe for that purpose you may be connected to multiple online stores, say Flipkart, Amazon, like that. So you may be interested for that. Now suppose you have your own website, and you want that whatever you upload in your website, it should automatically be posted on different online channels. You don't want to do it manually, that each time you go and choose that, okay, these are the things you wanted to upload in the say Amazon, these are the things you wanted to upload in, say, Flipkart. You just wanted to say that, okay, perhaps if I'm uploading something on my website, then it should all automatically be available to anybody, and from any platform, if somebody would like to purchase, then it should happen in that way. Now, how your website will be able to connect with multiple other websites? Through an API, because the only medium to which is available between different type of website, or even between different type of products, is through a communication channel. So APIs are nothing but a kind of communication channel through which you will be able to post your messages or post your product information in particularly for our example, in those products, right? For example, Flipkart, Amazon, like that. So you wanted to, you want to say that, okay, once you upload your product, maybe say after in the midnight, it should trigger and it should post your products on different websites. So for that purpose, you need to use the API which is exposed by Amazon by and the API which is exposed by say Flipkart, and then based on that you need to send those things, right? So that is how you should be doing it. Okay, now here, so maybe for that purpose you can use say REST method, or you can use say SOAP method. So with the help of SOAP or with the help of say REST, you will be able to post your product on this system, and then you can get an acknowledgement back. Now it may be that you can get the acknowledgement back immediately. You want that immediate confirmation that okay, the moment it gets posted you should get an immediate confirmation that yes, it is it has been posted, so that you are sure that your listing has done properly. Okay, now so the response which is coming can be immediate or synchronous or can be asynchronous, and that that depends on what kind of API you are using for that particular product. Now you can use similar type of API for anything, for say YouTube, for Twitter, for Facebook, for Flipkart, for Amazon, for any any website, okay, or any web product, for example. Now so your API is nothing but a kind of interface with which you will be able to connect, with which two different applications which are on different platform can interact with each other. And it doesn't, it doesn't matter that whether the platform is built using uh, which technology. So maybe your, your website is maybe say based on Java, some other website or some other web product may be using some other product. It doesn't matter. So irrespective of different technology, you will be able to exchange your things. What users need? Users need, that okay. Users need to understand that okay, which type of protocol, with which you need to send your request. So in case if your request is say SOAP request, then you send it. Then you send that request through SOAP over HTTP. In case if that is your REST API, then you can send the request through the REST. So that is how you will be able to connect, and you will be able to get, post it and get the response back. Now, when we are talking about, say, Azure Cognitive Services, so Azure provides pre-built machine learning models that enable applications to see, hear, speak, understand, and even begin to reason. So this is a inbuilt, pre-built, I would say, pre-built machine learning model, which Azure provide. This model can hear, speak, understand, see, and then also make some decision. Okay. Now Azure Cognitive Services solve general problem such as analyzing text for emotional sentiments or analyzing images to recognize object or faces. For example, the classical example which you have is, for example, your laptop. So now you have your face recognition method. So just your laptop look at your face, and it can analyze that yes, the right person is doing the login, and it shows you the desktop. In case if somebody else come and try to use your laptop, perhaps your your model is intelligent enough that it will not recognize that face, and it only allows you to get into it, but it won't allow you, but it won't allow anybody else. So you don't need. So similarly for Azure, you can the Azure model, it is even better, that it can also hear, it can also see and speak your things, and it can also analyze your face or your your emotions or your sentiments, right? So you don't need a special machine learning or data science knowledge to use these services. You can just simply use the service. You don't need a knowledge on the data science. You don't need a knowledge on the machine learning. And developer can access Azure Cognitive Service API services via API and can easily include these feature in just few lines of code in their own application. So with the help of this, you will be able to make your things, make your life easy rather than going into a complex model building and other stuff. So you can add the cognitive capabilities to apps with with the help of APIs and AI services. Cognitive services bring AI within reach of every developer and data scientist. With leading models, a variety of use case can be unlocked. All it takes is an API call to embed the ability to see, hear, speak, search, and understand, and accelerate advanced decision making into your apps. Right. So just you just you use the API, and with the help of which you will be able to utilize the existing features or functionalities or the power of Azure Cognitive Services. This will okay. So you just and then once you are using it, you can also customize it as you want, and then you can also so these models are coming with the pre-trained. These are the pre-trained model, and these are the this is a pre-trained or the pre-built and pre-trained approach by Azure. So furthermore, in case if you wanted to train it based on your domain, you will be able to further train it and then start using for your own thing. For example, suppose you wanted to use, you are running a shop and you wanted to use your Azure Cognitive Services particularly for your shop, so that initially if somebody and you have that shop as a kind of online shop. So in case somebody wanted to query your website for something, automatically it will detect it, and based on its speech or based on its text or based on in case if he or she is a regular customer, then based on that it will be able to recognize your things. So you can use the Azure Cognitive Services in the these manner. Now, what are the decision factor? So you need a service that can understand the content and meaning of your images, video, and audio, or that can translate text into different languages. So you can use the Azure Cognitive Services when it comes to general purpose tasks. So what all things it can do? It can it can do all the manual thing as I explained, and you will be able to use it. You will be able to use it in content. To understand the content and meaning of your images, videos, understand the content and meaning of the meaning of the image, video, and audio. So whatever it is, it will be able to understand those things. So it will understand your audio, video, and text, and with the help of which it will be able to generate the decision making based on your inputs. So for example, if you wanted to use it for your online shopping, you will be able to use it. In case if you wanted to use, in case if you have your product not for sale, but for example, you are providing some renting services, then you can change it, customize it for your renting purposes. For example, in case if you are in, not into suppose you are into you are a property dealer and you wanted to use it in that way. So you will be able to use it in that way. So it is a general purpose. Azure Cognitive Services are general purpose. So you will be able to use it for anything. and it is API based. So you will be able to interact easily without understanding your the data science methods or the the deep learning or machine learning. Just by writing the few lines of code, you will be able to use it. Okay. Now Azure Cognitive Services can be divided into following categories. So it has as I mentioned, that whatever be the language. So whatever be the language. So it can understand all different type of languages in in the world. So you just need to tell it that whether you allow it for a particular type of language, say for example English, or you wanted to use other type of languages, say French or Russian or whatever, right? So what language you wanted to opt for, and then it allow your app to process the natural languages with pre-built script, evaluate sentiment, and learn how to recognize what user want. Okay, so that is your language dimension. Second is, it understand, it recognize, it understand the sentiments. It with the help of this, you will be able to do your question answering. With the help of this, you will be able to translate your things from one language to other language. With the help of this, you will be able to understand approximately say 100 different type of language and dialects. Okay. Now next is speech. So with the help of speech, what you can do is convert speech into text and text into natural language sounds. So in case if you are having text and you wanted to convert it into speech, or you wanted to do it in reverse way, say speech to text, you wanted to again convert it into, and when we are saying speech, which means into any language, say somebody is speaking in say English and that is get translated into Hindi. Okay, so those things you will be able to do, and then you will be able to do next is vision. So it can detect the face API. It can detect a kind of custom vision, or maybe a kind of computer vision, in the sense that it will be able to analyze the images and video which you upload from your computer. Custom vision, which means that it is a kind of combination between your your face vision and computer vision. And then face API, with the help of which it will be able to detect the face and the emotions. Okay, so these things it will be able to detect. So we understood about the language, speech, and vision. And then after that, the last and very important thing is decision making. So it will be able to do the decision making. So D is decision making. So these are some of the dimensions. So language, speech, vision, and decision making. Next is Azure Board Service. So this is the Azure Cognitive Service. Next is Azure Board Service. Both framework are platform for creating virtual agents that understand and reply to questions just like a human. So the difference between the cognitive service and the bot service is that the cognitive service do not have any agent, and they do the work, but they will not show you that as if you are interacting with some human being. But otherwise, in the bot service, the moment, for example, if somebody is reaching to your website, a pop-up can come up and it can ask you, hey, how I can help you. So it asks you as if some person is there, and then you can interact with that virtual agent to ask any question which is related with the product which you are um, selling, or which you are um, serving. Okay, so based on that, you will be able to, it will show a virtual agents. So this is based on the virtual agent. Now these virtual agent that can understand and reply to the questions you want. So it understand your question and reply it. So it understand and reply just like a human. Next is that Azure Board Services is a bit different from Azure machine learning and Azure Cognitive Services in that it has a specific use case. Namely, it creates a virtual agent that can intelligently communicate with human. Behind the scene, the board you build uses other Azure services, such as Azure Cognitive Services, to understand what the human counterpart are asking for. So, in the background, this Azure Board Service may be using Azure Cognitive Service, but on front end, it will be acting like a human. Okay. Now, boards can be used to shift simple repetitive tasks, such as taking a dinner reservation or gathering profile information onto automated system that might no longer require a direct human intervention. So wherever possible, wherever you don't need a direct human intervention, you will be able to use these both interfaces. Okay, users converse with the bot by using text or interactive cards and speech. So you can use either text, you can use interactive cards. The example of interactive cards is maybe say some type of options which is provided by that bot, and then you can also speak. So based on that, you will be able to, you will get the answer by the bot. And the bot, so use bot services when you need to create a virtual agent to interact with the human by the natural language. Bot services services basically integrate knowledge source, natural language processing, and form factors to allow integration across different channels. So either, for example, it can take your, it can take your request, and then it can transfer that request to, say, customer service department of that company. By that way, the customer service will be knowing that this user is requesting for this. For example, it can ask you, assume that you are trying to interact in, say, during, say, offline period, say during night time. It can take your request, it can take your mobile number, and it can pass on that number or your email ID, and it can pass your email ID and the mobile number, etc., along with your question to, say, customer service department. So in a way, it can interact and pass information from different channels, and it can supply the information, to and fro. So the boot service solution usually rely on other AI services, as I mentioned, and definitely since it is using these type of things, so so similar to your cognitive services, it is using the NLP, which is natural language processing, and it also uses sorry, the NLP in the backend. So with the help of NLP, you will be able to process the things from one channel to other channel. So before you jump into building a custom chat experience, and you develop your own board services, which can take maybe a year or a month. You know, instead of doing that, you can use your Azure facility, with the help of which you will be able to you will be able to do the first sorry, 1 minute, I'm just putting you on. So before you jump and start creating or building a custom software, it is better that you will be able to use the no-code solution provided by the Azure that cover common scenarios. For example, you can use the Q&A maker. So if you are using the Q&A maker, you will be able to use you will be able to use it for your examination purpose, which is available from Azure Marketplace. You will be able to, in case if you are using, say, SharePoint documents, you will be able to use that as well. So, just with the help of Q&A service, which can pull your, documents which are available on the SharePoint, and then it will start giving the same questions on the screen for the user, so that user can select, and user can provide the right answer, and then it will based on based on the options, whatever user pick up, accordingly it will be able to select that whether you are giving the right answer or not. Likewise, you will be able to use the different Microsoft platform things to automate your things with the help of boat. So these type of services you will be able to use for Azure. So Azure Cognitive Services and Azure Board Services, these two services we have discussed so far. Now the next thing which we will discuss is about the Azure Machine Learning. So Azure Machine Learning is the third platform. It requires you to bring your own data, and then you train then you train your model. So Azure Machine Learning is your third thing. So with the help of Azure Machine Learning, it is a kind of little, the way we have the cognitive service, the way we have the board service, this service is this service is not like that. Because it is those are the like the pre-built services, which are like ready-made, right? But this service is like little it is also available and it is also ready-made, but it is not that not specific for for that purpose. For example, both you will be able to use it for, say, Q&A, or you will be able to use it for any type of different type of scenarios which I explained. Similarly, for your cognitive services is for different type of scenario that both. Azure Machine Learning is a kind of service which work in the back end of these, say, the board and the cognitive services. The in the back end, the service the service which work is the machine Azure Machine Learning. Now with the help of Azure Machine Learning, you will be able to do the task even more customizable manner. For example, in case if you wanted to use your, use machine learning for your own company. So for example, you might be having a lot of data which is coming up from different channels. And then based on that data, then you wanted to process it, and then you wanted to make some decisions. So there you can use, Azure machine learning. So it will, with the help of this Azure machine learning, you will be, you will be able to predict the future outcome. For example, in case if you are using it for say for anomaly detection or for defect identification. So suppose there is a team who is working on, say, in one company from years together, and you have the same team which is working from years. So and they are doing some development. Obviously, because the people have, people have normally the same tendency of the work. They do not change their pattern much frequently. So you will be able to detect that, okay, in the past, for example, in say past 1 year, suppose the team has developed, say, 3 different products, and each time when they are developing some product, a kind of defect which is coming up are, say, data related defects or say code related defect. Now in the code related defects, for example, they are using some something, and where they are where the more defects are coming from a particular area. So based on that, then your machine learning can forecast the defect, and it can say that since the same people or the same team are working, and they in the last 1 year, the kind of product which they have developed are having the issues or the anomalies in these particular areas. So it can accordingly predict the future, that whether your team is going, improving on the defect rate, or it is going, or it is declining on that. Or maybe at a wider sense, at an industry standard, for example, automobile. So in automobile, maybe a kind of products which are coming up, or the kind of inventions which are happening. So based on the customer interest, it can identify that how the next stage would be. And accordingly it will be able to suggest you. So suggest the leaders that how they need to make decision and move forward, right? So Azure machine learning is a kind of little wider technology, which with the help of which you will be able to do several different things. So in case if you need to build a model by using your own data or perform a different task, then you obviously need to choose the Azure machine learning. In case if you have some specific data or a specific type of scenario, then you will be able to use that type of approach. Okay. Now let us. We are, I think, at the top of the hour, but just maybe next in our next session we will discuss about more about the scenarios related with Azure AI. But before we move forward, please suggest in case if you have any question, or in case if you wanted to ask anything, please let me know.
Girish, I have one thing.
Mhm.
I think the recent recorded sessions are not uploaded, I guess, right?
Yes, you are right. Okay. So I was just thinking that since I become a little lazy because nobody has asked me that question. So so I become lazy, but okay, I will upload it. No worries.
Okay, and one more thing. On Friday, it will be a holiday for all the Bangalore locations. Oh, sorry, not
Yes,
for the entire Indian locations in IBM.
correct.